Hello and welcome to cooking a type of European dish where you're basically just stir frying in a typical Chinese style, but without Chinese ingredients, if that makes sense. Normally we would use typical stir fry ingredients like vegetables, and this is great for kids who don't like vegetables. Of course, there is no guarantee that they're going to eat it, but this is as good a start as any. Even for my own kids, we started them very early with this, so they quite like vegetables cooked this way. And we're talking about the really taboo vegetables. For example, I've got here Brussels sprouts that you will see. But really, any type of vegetables will go well with this. Broccoli goes great. So what we're doing first is starting by roasting our noodles. I generally use a whole bunch of noodles. You will see shortly. We have gnocchi. I use this type of I don't think it's even egg noodles, but it's more like flour-based noodles. It's really just to give a nice texture, a nice crunchy bite to it, to make it interesting for kids, especially in terms of textures. Again, of course, I cannot guarantee that all kids will like it, but generally mine does, and that didn't take too long. So what we're trying to do now is basically do a quick pan fry to get it crispy and browned, and I'll show you in a short while what the end texture should look like. But generally we're going to brown it and get it to a really nice crispy exterior. This will take some time, so I'll fast forward a bit here and there for you to see, but I'll show you the results in a bit. So, we're just going to do a short status check. Let me turn on my light here. Yep, and basically it's been like 5 minutes. You can see the browning started. So what you will do is basically just flip them around. You're trying to target even browning across. Obviously that's the goal, because who likes a one-sided crispy noodle? Yeah. So we're going to try and get it as brown as possible. Don't mind if you have some burn marks here and there, that's totally fine. You can just remove them, that's okay. That's fine. But what you're looking for is to get a nice crispy golden exterior, and to cook it. You're not going to fully cook it, that doesn't matter. That's at the end when you mix everything in. But generally, oops, I've got a little stray guy flying around. But generally, that's the idea. So, this one's almost done, I would think, and I've got my light fixed, so thanks for that. This color should be... This is actually my first time doing this, in case you didn't notice. But yeah, maybe I'm a bit nervous as well, so don't worry about that. We will take it as it goes. In any case, as you can see, the noodles are almost done. I've been taking out some burnt bits here and there, and that's totally fine. You wouldn't want to be eating, of course, the burnt bits, even though, they're nice, but it's probably not good for you long term. But jokes aside, it's almost done. As you can see, really nice crispy exterior, some of them. In fact, you can start removing some of them individually, depending on if you think they're done. I normally put into like a holding plate, as you can see on my left. So we just check for there's no real doneness. You just want it crispy and soft. So that's the texture we're looking for. That's going to be our little motto today: crispy but soft. So let's look for some that's maybe a bit more done, some that's not so. And can always just return it. You don't need it to be super crispy anyway on the other side, because I normally make large batches of this, so this will normally take like a good solid 15 minutes for a bag of like half a kilo of these noodles. So it can take a bit of, it can take some time, but I would not stress over getting it super perfect. You just want a general, a good crispy exterior. Yeah, I'm breaking one of the taboos of stir frying here by maybe overcrowding the pan a little bit. So I'm just weeding out some of these early ones so I can make more space for the rest to be a bit more evenly browned. So yeah, this channel is about breaking rules. Or a channel assume the rules, why not? And we're back with our next type of noodle, and you may be asking, why do I cook so many different types of noodles, and why is there a stray guy hanging at the back? Yeah, I dropped him. He hid away while I was cooking, so there was a bit of a stray guy hanging around, so I've got to cook him up a bit. It's almost done anyway, so the color is nice. So like I said, you can easily make it bulk for the whole week. This is a different type of flour noodle that we get here in Europe. You can really cook different types. That's not really the issue. I'll show you one last one that we're going to eat today. The rest that I'm cooking here is mainly for the week. But yeah, I mean, you can easily cook this in bulk. It's a bit time consuming to do, but yeah, the reward is it's nice. And some of you may ask, why not just air fry or bake in the oven, the whole thing? And yes, you can for sure do that, and maybe we will do that one of these days to show you the difference. But realistically, the main reason why we don't do that is because it tends to dry out the texture. And you will tend to get crispy, no doubt, but it tends to be on the dry side. And if you know kids, you know, oh, I hurt myself, sorry about that. That's hot, in case you did not know that. But generally, blooper number one, generally, we try to keep the texture to be a bit fluffy inside, so with pan frying you get more of that fluffy interior rather than if you baked or you air fried the whole thing, which tends to be more on the crispy side. So the texture is more one-dimensional, which maybe some kids like. I mean, fries is popular for a reason, but still, when dealing with this type of flour noodles, personal experience tends to be that they would prefer more fluffy, soft interior, which pan or this type of shallow frying is easier to achieve. So yes, it's a bit time consuming. I've been cooking for almost a kilo of these noodles, and it took me the better part of almost 30-45 minutes now. But really, you can do it in bulk, so it takes up, yeah, it's for the whole week. You know, you can easily add sauce to this, and I'll show you in a while. You have a lot of variations, and it's just like stir-fried noodles. Yeah, you can make a lot of different sauces with it. You know, it keeps well, it holds well. So when you're feeling bored with one particular type, you can make a different type of different sauce. Yeah, but the general principles of stir frying is still intact. So in this phase, we are just, you know, more frying it to get the texture. And it's really the crispy outside, the soft inside texture that we are looking for. So that's trying to, yeah. And that's the reason why we don't use the oven or air fryer for that. Because when I've tried this, I haven't personally tried it in an oven, but I've eaten the results before of doing this in the oven, and it tends to be on the dry side, and then it tends to be hard. So I would not think that it'll be that interesting for kids, especially. So for me, I much prefer this, and I'm sure for kids it will be the same. So I'm just going to let that cook, and then we'll fast forward again. So, and we are back, and we're just going to finish off this, and we're going to start with the next. This gnocchi again, and we're going to do this. So, let's set this up again. Okay, finally done the noodles. This is the protein part of it. I'm just going to start by frying sausages. Yeah, I'll put up eggs as well. So I need some oil for the eggs. Got 4 here. Just give it some brown, and again the main point of what we're trying to do is just add texture and color to make it interesting. But yeah, you can use any kind of protein, any kind of meat. I just sausages because it's fast. Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that. So eggs. Oops. Yep. It doesn't really need any seasoning because you are mostly going to flavor it at the end, and the salt from the sausages is normally enough. So I would say you don't need any real extra flavor. Now let the eggs cook up. Yes, needed some help on that one. And wash my hands. So, not trying to do any kind of omelette, just an overview. Just to add the protein into it. So, I will normally cook it together at the end with the vegetables, but because I'm trying to make kind of a vegetarian part, so the protein and the meats mainly for my kids, and we will separate it on serve. So I cook this separately. And you can just pick it up. And same as we've been doing, medium high heat. Oh, now medium more, but yeah, the pan has been superheated. I mean, the wok has been superheated almost, as you can see. I probably should have turned up the sausages because one side is probably more colored than the other. But yeah, the sausages are all cooked anyway, so it doesn't really need a lot of pre-cooking. But yeah, you could possibly add some pepper if you like, but generally I'll add everything onto the vegetables, the main dish. So I keep it light here and try not to unnecessarily salt it too much more. So I'm just going to let this cook, and then I'm going to separate it, but basically you'll see. It's not unlike scrambled eggs, although we're not really trying to go for scrambled eggs here. It's more just to get a good color and a good combination of different proteins. So, the eggs are done, as you can see. Nice result for that. We're now boiling the water because I'm cooking Brussels sprouts today. And that's going to form the vegetable part of this portion. Just get the water boiling, and then I've got the Brussels sprouts in. We're just going to give them a blanch, and the objective of this is to remove the bitterness that's especially normally associated with Brussels sprouts. Basically just needs a blanch. Always the tricky part of trying to put it in. As you can see, I've got 2 containers that don't quite match, so dump it in somehow. Yep, we're in. Good. That's done. And then let's go for that and just give it a quick blanch and then drain. So everything is ready. Pan's dry again after the parboiling. I'm just going to put some zucchinis in because not everyone in the family eats the Brussels sprouts. So I'm just going to put in some zucchini. Just again, yeah, this is more or less the final round, so we're going to mix everything now. So I have to pre-cook the zucchini and get it to a bit of a nice color. And we're going to get this ready, then we can finish everything else, including the Brussels sprouts, and then flavor. So let's get to it. Okay, so the zucchini has been cooking for a fair bit now, and yeah, it's more or less done. I would say we can start adding in the Brussels sprouts to give it some color, and that will also further cook the zucchini while that's going. So back in with the Brussels sprouts. Yep, there's some water there, it's fine. Let's dry it out. That's okay. Got this. And now is the pot. As you can see, still no salt. You could put some pepper in. I will do some pepper. And it doesn't really matter what type of pepper you put in. Let's start to get some now. Some pepper. And really we want to char the Brussels sprouts. That's basically the point of this finishing step. So we're trying to clear out the water, because obviously water is not good for us. Sometimes happens, so we just have to be a bit patient with that. So I'm going to char this out about 3 minutes more or less, and then we'll add the final seasonings. This is more like a fusion kind of thing, so if you're looking for more of the Asian, you can put more Asian spices or Asian stuff in, like actually I can't think of any right now, but yeah, the base that we'll use is still like a soy sauce base, but yeah, we use more Maggi, but it's soy sauce anyway. And I'll put more Italian herbs in a short while, you will see. So with some good charring going on so far, I'm letting it finish, but now we can put some salt, and then we can start adding some herbs. That will also work. And I wouldn't put too much salt, just a bit. Then I can use some Italian herbs that I have somewhere. Yep, yeah, I'll just put some. I'll actually hold on that because I don't want it to burn, so I'll try and put that as the last. But as you can see, it's almost done. Very nicely caramelized. Some parts more than others, but that's why the blanching, you don't really need to fully cook it out. But it'll be fine. So, you can start adding in the herbs. And now to that, we can start finally bringing in all the other components, mainly the noodles that have all been sitting out. And we're just going, if you're concerned about steaming it by this, generally it holds itself quite well, so it's fine. Just going to get it well mixed here. But normally what I would do at this point is to add the seasoning. But let me just do a quick stir while I do that. So, before I put the seasonings, let's put some cheese, because we're making like a fusion thing here. Again, with textures, the cheese is just to give some melted flavor that the kids absolutely tend to like. They tend to eat up the whole melted cheese parts. But I guess that's good. Now for the mixing part, you don't need such a high fire. I was probably using a higher end one to at least get the charring done faster. But you don't need such a high fire. Now we'll add more cheese. Put more cheese. And yes, of course,
some people may wonder why I'm putting cheese in. But like I say, it's different textures, different flavors. That's the whole point of this dish, to encourage kids to at least eat vegetables in a different way, beyond your usual standard stir fry. Of course, we will put in the standard stir fry sauces in a short while. Yeah, you can see some burnt cheese at the bottom. It's another texture that they like. I'm assuming I can save it before, but that's okay. I'm just going to start turning down the fire. Oh wait, I still need it because I need to finish the sauce. So with the cheese done, now it's time for the flavors. In this case, mostly Maggi sauce. Very good generous amount of it. And you will soon see I will put something to counteract the saltiness of this. Let me just stir it while I add a bit more. And yeah, you can see the cheese doesn't always end up in very even layers, but my kids absolutely love these little pieces of cheese that they end up fighting over. And yes, just a quick stir before I put the final touches. You can see the blocks of cheese parts. I'm trying to spread it out to make it go further. But yeah, that's also okay. Now some balsamic vinegar. Good splash to counteract with the saltiness of the Maggi sauce. But yeah, that in general is the stir-fry dish. You can see I also have eggs and sausages over there, so that's extra, but plenty of everything in this. So everything, a little bit of everything for everyone. And that's basically all. So I'm just gonna melt it down and it's done. So enjoy, like and subscribe. See you in the next one. This is all for today. Jemput makan.